And you're listening to WRMI, Radio International, Okeechobee, Florida, USA, and www.wrmi.net. Send us your comments and reception reports to info@wrmi.net or WRMI, Post Office Box 526852, Miami, Florida, 33152, USA. Radio Slovakia International.
Hello,
This is RSI News.
Slovak economy maintains stable growth. Copenhagen becomes first Slovak to climb 8,000 meters. And 2,000 populations begin to be fast in the field. At the beginning of the year, the Slovak economy maintained a relatively stable growth of around 3% according to statistics office/estimates. At constant currency in the first quarter of this year, Slovakia's GDP increased by 0.8% compared to the previous quarter, with the dynamics of the year-on-year growth slightly increasing from 3% to 3.1%. The contraction of the Slovak economy at the beginning of the year did not bring a major surprise. The economy benefited from the continuing recovery of both external and domestic consumer demand, said the Corporation, an analyst with Unicredit in Slovakia and the Czech Republic. Employment has recorded its lowest growth since the end of 2015. This is particularly due to structural labor market problems when supply and demand are not matched, which could confirm the growing number of job vacancies. However, low unemployment growth translates into accelerated labor productivity growth, which improved year-on-year by 1% in wholesale prices and up to 2% in prices. However, wage pressures, not only in Slovakia but practically throughout the region, create a 40% price labor concluded structure. Slovak alpinists Peter Hamor and Michal Sebesky conquered the Himalayas WRMI, which stands at 8,161 meters on Monday, according to statistics post on social media. Thus, Peter Hamor has become the first Slovak to have successfully climbed each of the world's 14 mountains with routes higher than 8,000 meters in height, known as the 8,000 meters. Car parking in hospitals is housing under the remit of the Health Ministry will be available free of charge for without time before the end of this year, according to Health Ministry. Under the measure, 70% of all hospital places will be allocated to patients, with 6% of those spaces being for disabled people. Hospital staff will be able to park their cars in the 30% of cases. A binding needs for this effect will soon be drawn up for the hospital insurance. The date of the measure will be introduced will vary as it will be conditional on the amount of control that the ministry exercises activities. The ministry has a total of 15 hospital car parks and electronics, 20 of them currently under construction. 60% areas are in the hands of private contractors. Slovakia will be able to rely on advice from Harvey Kopka, one of the experts behind the concept of Civica Estonia, utilizing its own state services according to an agreement clinch in Tallinn between Kopka and Vice Premier for Investment and Informatization, Peter Pellegrini. Pellegrini's office under the digitization of public administration portal cooperated with Kopka in its official capacity on the further development of e-government. It won't end with a formal visit anymore to provide us with strategic consultancy services seeking solutions to specific tasks such as cash management, streamlining our central website Slovenska.sk and other specific matters, said Pellegrini, quoted by the tax press agency. A few days ago, Estonia introduced online voting used by approximately one-third of its electorate, according to Pellegrini. In Estonia, in the case where the people of Slovakia get equipped with airplane ID card similar to what Estonians have, the largest country of the range. Today, there is already 1.5 million valid citizens ID cards. It's a matter of political decision. Not all the countries have embraced this yet. Saying Estonians can use 99% of all available services via the internet, including the prescription of drugs remotely. That has not the number of people in that population drinking by one-third. The Pellegrini would like to represent Slovakia in the special e-health project.
host for this English language broadcast, coming to you from the heart of Europe. The news you heard at the beginning of the show was brought to you by the CETA and Tassinet agencies, and most of today's show will be dedicated to new gadgets, apps and innovations which were on display at the 2017 Tech Summit held in Buckingham. And after that, I look at a topic which won't go away, climate change, asking experts how Slovakia's summit and winters will look in the coming years.
That's the world has problems with normal daytime temperatures being closer to peak temperatures like 40 degrees Celsius, but minimum temperatures.
I hope you enjoyed the music I've chosen for today's show. The song is called Skari, or Through the Cracks, performed by the Slovak which would make a good break after a full dose of technology and innovation. So let's dive into it with Radio Slovakia International. The 2017 Tech Summit wrapped up on Thursday afternoon with the two-day event offering back-to-back seminars from entrepreneurs, business leaders, innovators and pedagogues. Individual speakers and 6 individual conferences. The event focused on topics such as smart cities, cyber security, health and business growth through innovation, also including technology displayed from local and foreign innovators. Event organizer Joseph Chanko explained.
This is a conference that consists of several sub-conferences. It is a business development platform that connects participants, speakers and partners and allows them to connect mutual synergies. By Mr. Pellegrini, who is Deputy Premier, Deputy Prime Minister for Innovation in Slovakia.
At the event itself, I checked out some of the new innovation on display, starting with following expertise from Philips House, showcasing smart building technology.
Dedicated for smart building and for some intelligent controlling of the rooms, of the entire buildings, of the floors, of some processes that are going on in the building.
Did you have the software or the hardware or both there?
We are integrating the hardware part, so we are building the software that can control them.
What is a server? It's something where you come home and your house is warm already. What more is there?
Let's say you can remotely change it, can do some effective changes to save the cost, to monitor the situation, let's say via web camera, for instance, and to have better experience.
From home heating systems that turn on when your house detects you've begun your commute home to remote controlled cat feeders that will set the roll heat up, Dominic explained that smartphones have come a long way in recent times. This is also true for drones, meaning small unmanned multi-rotor aircraft, as Milos Shaldador from Eurobonic explained, sounding next to a very large drone.
So what can you use? This one is the size of, it looks like a bicycle. It's as big as a bicycle, and it has, 8 rotors on it. What can you use something like that for?
If you want to have a big camera or bigger camera, or a safer drone using more motors. So if you get to use for big camera, professional photo video, you actually can put much more on it. So normally if the camera will be smaller, you don't need such a big drone to fly with. So
Yes, so where do you think the technology will be in 10 years from now?
to answer this very correctly, I'll say that if you have a purchase years from now, it's actually considered as a very low technology. I can say like predict what will happen in the next few months. I would definitely not urgent it because it's going to happen in 10 years.
Okay, so what about the next? What's next? Where do you see the technology? What could possibly be better than stronger, faster, better?
It's a more safe and more safe. So this is just about how much we can put in the air. Now you can see already that it has 2 GPS antennas. It has dual autopilot controller. It has and these 8.
That's a power.
Yeah, that's a parachute.
It's like an airbag. It shoots out.
Yes. But this, for example, is control, so it means that it's considered as air because it's a mechanical. Currently, in drones we're using pyrotechnical parachute because it can deploy in much shorter time. So if it's not very high, it can also deploy and doesn't hurt people. And it's actually a very interesting thing about the parachute because it's not deploying automatically. It is always up to the Because if you are flying somewhere, the wind is blowing. You don't want to deploy the parachute and calculating the wind to fly, in two people. So if you have the better situation not to deploy the parachute, you are not deploying just to letting it fall down.
And in the traffic of unmanned aircraft, SOSA, or the Slovakia facilities, were also at the conference, demonstrating their technologies regarding their SK2, the Slovak-made fused satellite, which is now 1 year behind its planned launch date. I asked Bohuslav Penko from SOSA for a situation update.
What's happening with the SK2? Какая ситуация сейчас?
At this moment, we have no change in our progress plan over sooner. We should be launch last year already around this time. We had a problem with the main rocket, the Falcon 9, which exploded right before the start on the launch pad.
Do you have when it will launch approximately?
No, exactly.
When will it be?
It looks very likely that the rocket we use will not be a Falcon 9. At the moment, there are talks with another organization, and most likely it will be launched into space, including certain agencies and a PSAV rocket.
Bohuslav added that a June launch date is very possible, although their biggest challenge is battling the cold, dark vacuum of pre-launch bureaucracy. Some of the other exhibitors are from outside Slovakia, offering robotic systems which are programmed and controlled by user-friendly graphics.
And Władysław Ziński from Tekoszyn, Warsaw, Poland.
Okay, so your Polish exhibition here, what do you have?
We present the Internet of Robots. System to easily assemble the robot.
Okay, so this is what we're looking at on the table is a little conveyor belt. This is obviously a miniature size for demonstration.
What can you use this conveyor belt to synthesize on? What can you use it for? You can use to check the way of manufacturing something. You can tell in what position is the product. If the product has some error, it's not manufactured well, you can take it away by the test.
What benefit would this have in a factory with fruit or car parts over human labor?
The main advantage of that solution is you can create many systems with the same set of components. If that system runs some motors, some sensors, they are connected to the internet network, and it can just program it by the graphical interface on the computer.
Barge UNC opened up a laptop computer with simple squares and lines on the screen.
Screen with few green boxes. And the most important thing is that we have input and output of each user. Here in the center we have the brain, and we connect the brain with some graphical interface, some graphical wires.
So you don't need to learn coding for this.
Exactly. The product is preparing for younger users from 12 to 18 years old.
So is this for education or for use in a factory?
Everything is for education, but the future will work for some factory-run foundations for small companies, which need to have a elasticity solution.
Well, when innovation and automation in smart homes are to be expected at Tesla's in, one which caught me off guard was a display of what appeared to be a piece of old 35mm film and a magnifying glass. What does it mean? Some people explain.
Trying to explain what we have on the table. It's a one cord with a magnifying glass and what looks like film.
Correct, that's exactly right. So you see a magnifying glass and a piece of film, and this is what you would need in about 100 years to retrieve the files from film. If there is a disaster in the world and you're the only human being to survive.
I like the story so far.
Yeah, so you just need to find somewhere and then take a little film strip, and with a magnifying glass you can enlarge the visual frames on the film, where you can see the visual information as to
Okay, this is the pixel film. You need a magnifying glass to receive the visual stuff. If you're lost at this point, I'll save you some time. Roger, you need to explain that each frame on this film is a very fine detail to our code. They're saying that it is a square. The reasoning behind the idea is very storage, meaning up to 500 years conditions.
How is this different to magnetic tape that was used for computers in the 90s?
Well, it's very, very different. We are talking about the versatility to use both analog and digital files to be stored. Secondly, we talk about a superior longevity. To develop this film, we have invested about 3 million euros. Only a fraction, only 10% of the whole investment of 27 million to develop a turnkey solution, which consists of as a storage medium, then as a writer that can write data on film, user that can receive, and the processor. So in terms of longevity that I started talking about, this film has been scientifically tested to last up to 500 years, and it's just superior compared to anything else that exists. So we're going to bring it over to the we have in our solution to cater for the needs of big data owners. So big corporations or governments that have big data. That's what our major use is, but you just mentioned something that I have to refer to, which is the doomsday scenario. And just 2 weeks ago, we opened in the Arctic, we opened the world's safest doomsday data vault in the Arctic, in Svalbard, in the north of Norway. Storage. I move on to data storage for those still living, speaking to Marcus Kotran from DocFM, presenting a Slovak-made mobile application.
It's basically archive of documents with the digitalization of the documents and archivation as well.
Marcus Kotran is a application on the screen to show a list of documents with your paper that are now stored electronically through the app.
These are the documents that are uploaded.
That you've uploaded or you've scanned?
A couple of them are uploaded by my colleagues, and a couple of them are uploaded just by the phone camera.
How is this different from, say, online taking photos and uploading to your phone storage?
This free version isn't much different. What differs is that if you send us some real documents, we can scan them.
So I can send you a box of documents. I don't have to scan it.
Yes, you don't have to do anything. We will scan it, we will get data from it, and decide what's important. Then you can see it all in the details. The next version of application should have a payment method that you can be transferred to internet banking, like from our application.
Rather than the software reads the text, making it easy to switch to years of mail, bills, or letters using just keywords. But will this idea and the other innovative ideas that we have about actually make it in the long run? And subsequently, the startup and innovation investment. Supporter of marketing and management at the University of Vienna and National after consumers.
Today I spoke about market entry for hydrogen. How is that different from business?
Oh, it's quite different, it's quite risky, because if you enter with an innovation, a hydrogen innovation, you are unclear how it will be welcomed on the market. Maybe the technology is ready to be accepted in the market. Maybe the market isn't ready to understand the technology. So you have a translation process or an alignment process between market readiness and technology readiness. Technology readiness is well known from 40 years ago to now. Technology readiness is well known. And the Horizon 2020 program that the technology readiness is an important tool, but the combination is technology. These must be aligned.
How do you align? How can you make them all?
This is a system of checklist of how IPR, intellectual property rights, and how is the interoperability of the software, the hardware, and how manufacturability is from the PRS, hardware, and the hardware or the main competitor, how is the demand, the demand of emerging demand, but there is demand because of innovation, and how is the customer ready to understand what is the exhaustive capacity of the customer to satisfy, and how is not as high, but it still compromises industrial standards, EU standards, and so on.
So what's your opinion?
I think there's enough people in combination for me. It's not, it's too soon, but I think it has most functionally positive. But I don't think I can see something at the commercial level, but not on the market level. The market level is very important. You have to do market research, very interviews and so on.
That every week there's a new scientific study on climate change outlining things we're about to get and how they can affect us. Considering the same global investment It wants some thoughts about the outlook. Concerning how the world can the outlook really be that bad? To find out
will change. What change? Increased air temperature, the water will be higher compared to the past. This temperature changes may reach more than of which are very high. If you compare this to the long-term averages over the next 30 years, in this temperature each individual year over 30 years is more than the emissions for the past 20 to 30 years indicates that greater than 1 degree Celsius, which is significantly warmer.
Not only as a result from global but on evolution in another warmer world is likely to keep warming. But what does this mean for Slovakia and the cities, the largest of which being Bratislava?
The past year maximum daytime temperatures, meaning that the last only had problems with normal daytime temperatures being close to peak temperatures. This year will see an increase in 19
unpredictable and untrue winters are on the cards, but this could be good news for those who are seeing snow in the city. So if it's now, perhaps it's now to experience snowy days.
That's actually a really interesting issue regarding climate change. Across Slovakia and Czechia, during winter. This situation will repeat itself more often in the future. Such fluctuations may determine the character of the year as we know it, but the situation will be that snowfall is very short.
Snowfall and the chance to have time to see night, living in Salt City. Coupled with a growing population of Slovakia, could also mean an increase in the number
The temperature conditions during the winter are unstable, and therefore the classic winter doesn't come anymore, or when it does, it comes very late. So the birds and consequences begin to break up the story in people. Then we can encounter people in the area with things not only
Contact details are coming in just a few seconds, so please get in touch with us. My name is Kevin Peters. Or send an email to go to rfi.fo. Listen to RFI via our webpage, satellite, or via the mobile smartphone.